Hi guys! Hi! We're live on YouTube and we were just catching up on how our summer is going. So, guys, in the live chat, let us know how you're doing, how your summer is going. We have so far Joanne Johnson. Hi, Joanne. How are you? What's up with you this summer? Because I'm sort of on holidays and working at the same time. Jess, you're working, and Harry,
Yeah.
you are also working.
Yes.
So, guys in the live chat, let us know what you're doing right now, because I assume university and lectures and school has ended, but those who have a job are like still ongoing, unless you are watching us from a very holiday summery vacation spot, which lucky you. So Jess, tell us, what have you been up to lately?
This is going to sound really boring, but literally not really a lot. I'm mostly just like working, have been out with friends, clubbing, partying, other than that, not really. And obviously Eurovoxx. Other than that, not really anything that exciting, sadly.
Harry, how about you? What are you up to?
I mean, you think yours sounds dull, Jess. Mine's without like the partying and the clubbing.
Oh dear. Need to change that.
Well, there's no Euro clubs at the moment, so that's the when there needs to be just more of that once a month, just somewhere in London, But yeah, not much. Mainly working. To be fair, I turned 20 this month, so that was exciting.
Happy birthday!
Thank
What
you.
day? What day was your birthday though?
It was. What's the day now?
Today's
less than 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks ago.
What day number?
6. 6th of June.
Okay, because I'm the 10th of January, so I turned the 10th of June. So I turned 32. So 20, 32, those are great ages. Those are great ages to be alive.
Very good. And also, Eurovoxx is now teenage free. Now I've turned 20, which there'll be definitely people excited by that.
Definitely. Let's see. Beckett Fitz, hi all, and Jessie Cowper. Kuiper. Hello. Beckett Fitz has a great question. What do you all make of Eva Mora getting dismissed from head of delegation for Spain? Do you guys have any thoughts, or should I start? Or
well, to be honest, no, go on.
Go, Jess.
Not that I know a huge amount about the way the Spanish delegation works, but if I remember correctly, the 2 years that Eva Mora has been there, we obviously saw Benidorm Fest coming back, and we saw Spain getting their best result ever with Chanel. So from that point of view, it seems like a strange decision, but maybe there's more to it than that I don't know about.
Harry, what do you think about this?
Well, I just think on behalf of all British and Germany, Eurovision fans, we've missed Spain competing with us for last place. So it's nice to know that you're going to go back to the delegation that brought us to it for your lover, the 2018 entry. Was it Tu Canción? And just all the great hits from Spain in the last few years. No, but I mean, it's a bizarre one. There must be more context behind it. Because, Eva has completely transformed the perception of Spain at Eurovision. Even despite the televote score in this year's contest, the Aya was still highly regarded and overall loved by the fandom. And to be fair, still, was it 17th it finished in the end? For still, one of the higher results in recent memory. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Benidorm Fest is not going away, so that part won't change, but it'll just be interesting to see what acts and how the actual national final plays out, if there's any changes, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting move. I think maybe they're trying to find someone to blame, but it's not really like a real, it's not a real blame. It's not her fault, definitely. I think with flamenco, it's flamenco. If we have to blame something, it's flamenco. Spain has a really bad trajectory, proven now that we should bring flamenco to Eurovision. We should bring Eva Mora, because she does bring some results. But it's just flamenco. I guess it's not about her, it's about flamenco. And yes, as you very well said, Benidorm Fest is not going anywhere anytime soon. Let's see what you guys say. Yodi Toddy, evening. Joanne Johnson, well done, Harry, reaching 20. Thank you for not dying before.
I did it.
Lipern, good evening, guys. I can't believe it's been 5 weeks since the Eurovision final. The 2024 season will be here before we know it. That is true. That is very, very true. It always happens the same. We're like, oh, I wish it comes sooner, and then suddenly, bang! It's in our face. Lipern. Oh yeah, sorry, I just read this. Matt Bugart, hi Mark. It was great to see you in Liverpool. Hey guys, how are you all? Greetings from Zurich. Thanks. Great news, LOREEN and Tattoo is doing well in the UK. Yes, like you guys are in the UK, so I think you guys are getting the charts with the most Eurovision artists for sure. So please let us know how is that going.
I mean, the fact that we still have number 1 Eurovision in the charts, but number 2 not UK Eurovision in the charts is just a miracle in itself. And the fact that a country like Sweden and with LOREEN is still charting somewhere, I don't know the exact position, but the fact that she's still there, I think in the top 40 at least, or top 30, still just like blows my mind. That like if you'd said this 5 years ago, you wouldn't have even seen the UK in that position. So yeah, it's great.
And Ray Bailey has a message for you, Jess.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, this is a super interesting question because I read an article today. Should the grand final be shortened by 1 hour? Thank you, Bukur, for the question. Harry, I probably have many thoughts on this, so bring them in. Bring them on.
To be fair, of all the controversies that have happened in the last 5 weeks, this is probably one I have the least amount of thoughts on. I have thoughts on many, don't worry. I think when it comes down to it, the runtime doesn't feel like 4 hours usually, or at least to me, not anyway, because you're just having such a good time because as Eurovision fans, you don't really care how long it lasts. I don't think it will make much of a difference even if it's a shorter by an hour or longer by an hour. It seems like roughly the same amount of stuff will happen. Yeah, it's one of those which might just be a moot point, but I don't think it's necessarily, people weren't clamoring for it to be shorter necessarily, especially the final. So one of those.
Jess, what do you think?
I mean, for me personally, I could just sit and watch Eurovision all day. So having a long final for someone like myself it's not really a bother for me. I'm happy to sit there and watch it for that long. But I wonder if the casual viewer would kind of get a bit turned off by such a long show, and if they would want something just a little bit shorter, a little bit more condensed. I do think there are certain aspects that would benefit from being shortened, maybe the voting sequence, and maybe not having so many recaps at the end, because I don't know why we need so many. But other than that, I don't think it has to be exactly 1 hour shorter, but maybe even just 20 minutes, half an hour shorter, I think might help with the casual viewer, perhaps.
No, I agree. Like for me personally, I didn't really, if I think when I started watching Eurovision and I was 11 till now, and that's been like 12 years or no, actually more like 20 years, sorry. I don't really notice that it's longer, but then again, I'm such a huge fan that I'm so I'm so into it. I'm so swallowed by the program that I didn't realize it was getting longer and longer. But I do agree that some things may not be so necessarily, and which I think is unnecessary, the suspense the TV hosts make between saying they're going to announce the points or the results and actually announcing the points. It's too long. I understand that we have to make the whole audience be on their feet, but sometimes it's just too long. So maybe that part can be cut. Yeah. And I do agree, there may be too many recaps. But if I think about the whole production show, if I think in a production way, I wouldn't know how to make it shorter, because you need the 26 countries to participate. You need time to count the voting. You need time to get the people voting, and then you need an interval act to make it more interesting or diverse, or get everyone's emotions a little bit down, so they would want to keep watching and not be so hyperventilating as we normally are. So I'm very curious on where they could cut it shorter. Maybe we don't need so many sketches of the Eurovision venue, like, you know, the pre-recorded stuff, like Mons, Summerlove, and Philomena sketch or part this Eurovision. I don't think that was necessary. It didn't necessarily add anything to the show, so maybe those parts could be written off so we can just focus on what's going inside the arena. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. But let's say Joanne Johnson has been meeting up with friends and visiting gardens. That sounds like a lovely summer. Guys in the live chat, what have you been up to since Eurovision ended and we're in summertime? Because we just revealed or let you guys know what we're up to lately in summer, but we want to know what you are up to this summer. Jessica Harper, yes, your name is difficult, but I said it quite well. Merci beaucoup. Beckett Fitz, I thought you were in your mid-20s, Clara. No, I'm 32. I was born in 1991, and I think aging is a beautiful thing, and it really suits me. So I can't wait for Harry to be 32. Yes, I think you're 32 too. So
I am.
We are 1991.
Maybe the UK would have come in the top 10 once more by the time I'm 32. Who knows?
Well, that is something you can look forward to. Riyadh, hello everyone. I loved Aya, one of my favorites. Yes, you're still listening to this song, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as obsessed with it as I once was, and I'm probably maybe only like 1/4 Blanca Paloma now, but it still heavily rotates on my Spotify.
Easy Manga says hello. Riyadh is sending us a Spanish flag. Peter Hajduk, my highlights on this post-season are after 6 years falling in love with Amarte Los Dois. Nice. I'm patiently waiting that Joker Out from Slovenia would announce a concert in Slovakia. That's really cool. Actually, I think they are in Finland now, and they are doing some shows with Karia, as Instagram wants to let me know constantly. So I'm really liking how this Eurovision season has managed to make artists bond together, because Joker Out has been with Karia, but also with Ireland. With We Are One. Sorry, I forgot about their name.
Wild Youth.
With Wild Youth.
Very memorable act from this year, clearly.
I think I love the guys more than the song, to be honest.
That's fair.
Ruben Domingo Nunez. Good evening, guys from Spain. Thanks for keeping me entertained during these flu-like days. Much love. Flu-like because you're sick with the flu, or flu because there's nothing happening in Eurovision-wise, like grandiosity that we should cover? Let us know how you're spending the summer, because we would love to know what you guys are up to. Riyadh, no, the final is always amazing. White shirt and such a joy and entertaining event. I agree. I so agree. But you know, we're not all people that watch are Eurofans. And I'm noticing that Eurovision is constantly trying to implement changes or optimize itself. So, Jess, what do you think about this Eurovision always trying to optimize themselves? Do you think they're overdoing it, or is it okay?
I mean, I think with a contest like Eurovision, change is healthy, because so much in the world is constantly changing, and I think it's important for them to keep up with what's happening around the world, but it's maybe not necessary to do it as often as they do. So I think it's important for them to look at how the world is evolving around them in the music scene and kind of TV and stuff like this, but kind of maybe just take into consideration when a change is needed and when it's maybe not so much needed at that moment in time.
Harry, I see the wheels in your brain turning. Give it to us.
Well, speaking of change, remember that brief moment where we all thought there was going to be the qualifiers were going to be announced X Factor style with them on the stage? Talk about changes that they tried and weren't needed. I think when it comes down to change at Eurovision, I think we can all agree that a lot of Eurovision, if not all of it, is good. You know, there's not a lot that we feel needs changing. I think that's where the issue lies. Only change parts of Eurovision where you feel change is necessary. I think the main talking point when it comes to change at the moment is, you know, the televote and jury debate, which
Mhm.
I've got my own thoughts on. I'm not going to get into them now because that will take the entire rest of the live stream. But if that's the only thing that people are debating, and that even then there's an argument whether there should or shouldn't be change. It's like changes. I feel that any changes that apart from that come will either just be received negatively or have minimal impact on the show.
Riyadh, yes. The final is always amazing. Why shorten it when we have so much joy and entertainment? Lee Fern, you have a point. Eurovision is an annual event. I don't mind the final being 4 hours for an annual contest. This might be very controversial, but Sweden always tries to change something. Leave it as it is.
To be fair, I will argue the fact that San Remo is an annual contest does not mean it should be as long as it is. That's one.
Good point. That's actually a good point.
One could be shortened.
And Aris, on the other hand, says it's like watching a football match when you're not interested and you ask for it to be shortened by 30 minutes. Seriously, that's a really good point. That I personally agree to that. So personally, I'm happy with a 4-hour show. So
Me
it's
too.
different. 4 hours absolutely flies by anyway.
And I think,
yeah, go ahead, please.
I think also a lot of people kind of have parties. They're watching it with their friends, or maybe we're together in the press center or wherever. And so it doesn't feel like it's dragging on. It just feels like I'm having a good time with my friends watching my favorite thing in the world. So yeah.
I'm having a party. John Johnson says, I think the final to me is not too long. It's such a special event. And Yori Tori says, shorten it by cutting the flag parade and only the finalists vote.
Imagine.
Do you know what? I have actually thought about that. I don't know how it would work in practice, but maybe they could only have spokespersons for the 26 finalists. And then the countries that don't qualify, like somehow their scores would just be added together and automatically put on the screen or something. I don't know.
Man,
and then just have like
poor Eurovision fans in Georgia, Latvia, and Ireland. They'd never get to actually say anything in the live show.
Savage. Lee Fern says, you like the flag parade? Raya, get ready for Madonna concert. You're getting ready for Madonna concert. That is so cool. Where are you? Is she in Spain?
Okay.
I thought you were like mentioning or like making a reference to her super memorable Eurovision performance. Jody Toddy, I expect it's being lengthened to validate the voting. And Raibeli, you have been working all of this time. Lee Fern, oh, you're 42 on Wednesday, getting old now. Haha, nah.
You are not old.
No.
You are like wine. You have aged beautifully.
And you know, guys, I go to a climbing gym and one of the instructors is 58 and he's in such a perfect shape and such like you would never guess he's 58. So age is really just a number. Aris M, in the late 80s, early 90s, UK used to come second.
Those were the days.
I've experienced it once now, at least.
Oh, yes. Tata Werner Online. Justice for Mimikat. Have you guys
agree.
Seen... Yes. Develop. Yes. Why do you agree?
Well, she had, in my opinion, a great song, a good staging, great vocals, and it was a crime that the producers or whoever put her second in the running order. And quite frankly, I think she deserved a much higher placing and position based on all of those factors.
Harry, why did you think producers put her on the second spot?
It was a tough one. I mean, you looked at that first half on paper, and there was a minimal amount of songs that you could actually put into slot 2. When it comes to like the favorites, like Sweden, Finland, even songs that in theory people were expecting to do well, like France and Spain, were in that half. So I can understand Portugal wasn't exactly one of the odds-on favourite to do ridiculously well, so you had to put someone there. But it is a crying shame. I think just whoever you put at slot 2 is going to suffer with the televote unless it's a really cult hero song. Like Lama May with the Televote did not do that bad last year, for example, despite being slot 2. I think overall the running order just harmed the earlier songs in general, like Austria, Portugal. I don't think any of the first 5 really did that well with the Televote. I'm trying to think apart from Poland, but I think they had other reasons, to be honest.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Lithuania, when the RUP went to represent them, were like very very early on. I think they either opened the show and they ended up or like performed third.
They
So they opened the semi-final, but then performed like 17th, I think, in the final.
Oh, okay. So then I should just not. I don't know. For me, in my mind, like the RUP was one of the rare cases that really like got into the top 10 because they. I
think in recent memory, the one song I can think of that did well with the televote, despite being early, was I remember Melvin got a really good televote in 2018 despite performing first. Ironically, that was the juries that killed that one, which rarely happens with an early song.
Joanne Johnson says, I'm looking forward to watching the Glastonbury Music Festival next week for Måneskin. Nice. They performed in Latvia like the week after Eurovision, and one of my best friends here offered me to go and see to Riga and see it with her, but I was just so knackered with the whole Eurovision experience that I said, no, I need to rest. Bukur, changes to Eurovision only comes when Sweden hosts it.
I think that's a bit harsh considering the votes literally changed this year and the semi-finals. It's not quite just only when Sweden hosts it.
But I think there were valid reasons for the vote changing this year, and whoever hosted it would have ultimately had these changes come about anyway because of what happened in last year.
I'm still not completely sold on the new semi-final system. I don't mind it. I don't mind anything else, but I just feel like there's certain countries where they're going to have to send something really bad not to qualify, and vice versa. You have to send, like Malta and San Marino, for example, I think have to now send something, if they keep the system, have to now send something ridiculously good to even stand a chance of qualifying, which I don't think that leverage doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, me neither. Bring the jury back to the semis, personally. Yes. eSpot podcast, the change we need is making it cheaper for countries to participate and for fans to attend. The cost is getting out of control. I totally agree on this one.
But I mean, realistically, unless I'm just being really dumb, how could you make it cheaper for countries? Would the host country maybe not spend as much on hosting, or?
I mean, I don't know the finances ridiculously well about, but am I correct in saying that everyone has to pay a set fee, and then then the budget that they have to put in their staging and etc. is just up to them?
Yes,
I think so. Yeah,
that is very true, because I know for a fact that Spanish entries, the past 2 entries, have costed at least €500,000, or like in between 300,000 and 500,000 euros for sure. And then you have countries like Latvia where they really can't afford this budget, because it's all, at least for the Spanish money comes out of the taxpayers. But if you don't have so many population, then you, no matter how much you tax the people, they're never going to add to this amount, because you just don't have the population. So we already have the big 5, which I assume they are paying way more than, or like attract a bigger audience, which is why they qualify automatically. So we really should consider how to make it cheaper, and especially cheaper for the Eurofans, because as much as we love the show, we don't want to like pay. I feel like we're paying what the smaller countries cannot amount to equal Spain or like Germany or all of those bigger countries. So I don't know. We should all sit and make like some written form that we should send to Eurovision on how to change the world, or make it more fair. Okay, let's see. This is true. People wallets are going to cry for joy when Switzerland wins the contest.
Mine is already crying over Sweden.
Yes, I've already started to save money to go to Sweden, and it's probably my fridge. There's just going to be carrots and potatoes from now on. But on the other hand, it's great to keep yourself in shape. Let's see. Clubs. The only changes I would support is juries back to the semis and move the starting time 1 hour earlier. I living in Latvia, I know Clubs lives in Latvia. I can see the 1 hour before because it gets very late for us. And Lee Fern says, "Oh, thanks, Jess."
You're welcome.
And Class says flag parade belongs to the Olympic Games only.
See,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the flag parade in Eurovision.
I think it's unnecessary.
I don't really see the point of it. In Junior Eurovision, I think it's fun for the kids to come out on stage and show their support for their country. But like in the adult contest, I just don't get the point of it. Like, why do they need to parade themselves? Can you not just go straight into it? Like, I want to get onto the songs.
I think it's nice. I think it sets the tone. Like, I don't think it adds that much time to the show. Like 10 minutes. Like that's not a ridiculous amount for me.
But then if you're
sorry, go Jess.
But if you're taking something like the flag parade, for example, and then maybe getting rid of a recap and getting rid of small little things here and there, eventually it will all add up and actually shave off quite a bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's partly a nice thing because also, as much as it's a contest, it's one of those representatives where it's like peace coming. Like they referenced the Olympics there. It's like that the purpose of it in the Olympics is to parade all the countries coming together and united in one place. It does the same thing in Eurovision as well, so it's a nice trophy to that. And also, it's also very satisfying to see all the countries come out, and it's also a chance for them to express themselves with maybe like Marco Magnoni bringing out the pride flag. Iceland last year brought out some different flags as well. Like it's a nice time for them to express themselves as well.
Mm-hmm. No, everything you say makes completely sense. I think for me the flag parade is just it goes by really quick because I think they have like 3 minutes per person to walk in and out. So it but overall I can understand what your point is, that if you slowly cut little things, it will eventually save some time. Ray Williams said Kazakhstan withdraw from Junior Eurovision. Yes, you as the expert. What do you make?
So I don't think they've given like a proper official reason from the research I've done. Maybe they're a little bit sad that they didn't do very well last year and they're kind of sulking, maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's sad to see one less country in something like Junior Eurovision that's already quite small. And they sent some great entries too, so it's a shame to lose them, but maybe they'll be back in the future.
I think they will. Like, it was always bringing attention to the country, and it's a very sort of a big European event. So for me, if I don't hear about, or if I don't see Kazakhstan in Junior Eurovision, personally, because I don't really watch that much sport, I wouldn't see them anywhere else in like my periphery of entertainment. So for me, it's quite sad they're withdrawing. Peter Haidut, getting ready for Imagine Dragons concert in August. I love them. In July, you will go to Copenhagen for the first time. Ooh, nice.
Cool. Have fun.
Yeah. Guys, in the live comments, in the live chat, let us know what you're up to lately and what are you doing for the summer, because we are nosy and we want to know. And let's see. Liefern, we know Spain will keep Benidorm Fest, but I don't know why RTV sacked the producer because of one bad result, even though she's got a second place for Spain last year. What do you think, Clara? And we already talked about this before, but we can like quickly mention it again. I think they were just trying to find someone to blame for the poor result. And for me, the blame is on taking flamenco to Eurovision. So Spain should know better now to never take flamenco to Eurovision. Jason, Harry, what do you think?
I mean, it's a silly decision to get rid of the Even Mora just because of one not so good result. But let's not forget, she was still top 10 with the juries. So it's not really that bad of a result as far as Spain goes. They could have at least given her another try, at least.
What I don't understand is this poor result narrative, because they've gone back to the previous person, which I don't know what year they started, but it was like obviously the last few years. And I'm pretty sure that, let's even say that they started in 2015, for example. Every single result between 2015 to 2021 is still worse than Blanca Paloma's result.
Yeah.
So for them to say it's a bad result makes zero sense. Like that'd be like sacking Lee Smithhurst or just like someone on the BBC for just the one bad result for the UK, because we came second one year. It's like there's peaks and flows in Eurovision, even if you think you're on an upwards trajectory, and yeah, that makes if it's because of that, there might be other factors. If it's because of that, makes zero sense.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Ruben Domingo Nunez. To be fair, I think that Sweden hosting Eurovision is always a glow up in terms of sound, stage, and show quality. People may get tired of them winning frequently, but it's just a gift for their hard work. I agree. And Harry, what do you make about Sweden hosting? Do you like the idea?
I can't wait. I've always said since I became a fan, like I want to go to a Swedish Eurovision because they know how to host. Like I'm really excited for that aspect. I've also never been to Scandinavia, so that'll be fun for me.
Yes, are you looking forward to being in Sweden?
I am, because I've never been and I've always wanted to go. And I did try to get tickets for Eurovision 2016 in Stockholm, but was unsuccessful. So now I actually hopefully get to go to Sweden next year for Eurovision. I mean, they know how to throw a party, they know how to do Eurovision, and they do it very well. And when it comes to them participating in Eurovision, you may not like all of their entries or how in some cases maybe bland or very generic pop they may sound, but you can't deny that they work very hard with Melfest, with Eurovision. They put in the effort and the work, and it pays off.
Absolutely. And I will now read the 4 cities that have sent a bid to host Eurovision from Sweden, which are Sweden, Gothenburg, Malmö, and Sorry, this one is difficult.
Sweden?
Sorry, are Gothenburg, Stockholm, Malmö, and Örnsköldsvik. Husavik was easier to pronounce than Örnsköldsvik. So Google that if you... Go ahead.
The problem is whenever you say Gothenburg, I'm just thinking, what are they hosting a Batman's like layer or something?
That's hilarious. What's Batman's actual name? The city name?
It's got Gotham City.
Gotham.
Yeah, it's Gotham City. So yeah,
Gotham and Gothenburg. Oh my god! Imagine everyone dressed in like Batman suits for Eurovision. That would be hilarious. Or like pink and sparkly Batman. Oh,
I need to brush up on my Batman knowledge. Okay.
So guys, what is your preferred city to host Eurovision? Stockholm, Gothenburg, Malmö, or Örnsköldsvik?
Well, let's go to the last one, because it's never been there before.
Okay, are you ready to say Örnsköldsvik for
maybe there's like
season?
An official abbreviation of the city?
Eurovision fans will come up with one if there isn't.
Yeah.
Yes, please, because I can't keep making a fool out of myself for like a whole year. And okay, going back to the live chat, Liefern, I like the flag parade. It's nice to parade the artists like in the Olympics. Okay, I see the point. Ruben Domingo Nunez, do you think Luxembourg will bring something very commercial or very French-like? I'm curious about which path they will take.
Me too.
Harry, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think they will go with?
Big fat question mark, not Scooby-Doo. Like it's one of those where it's I worry, as much as I'm happy they're back, it's quite a small nation, Luxembourg. So I worry with this like televote only system, do they have enough diaspora, or are they another one of those Malta San Marinos that have to send something exceptional to, have a chance? So I guess we'll see in May next year. But I think that Luxembourg would not come back without definitely trying. They are definitely going to put a lot of effort into this as much as they can. And I think the question will just be, can they adapt their success to the times? Because we've seen other countries who had success in the 70s and the 80s, like Monaco, for example, who obviously won it then returned for a little bit in the 2000s and did not do well, to say the least. So will Luxembourg be another one of those, or will they know how to adapt? Because I suppose they could take some stylings from the likes of Belgium, the likes of France, the likes of Switzerland, who have all been on upward trajectories in the last few years, or at least have a consistent level of good quality music. So time will tell how Luxembourg do. I do hope for the best, because I think I think countries like them doing well will invite more countries that had previously withdrawn through just their size, their budget, to also think about returning.
Jess, what do you think Luxembourg could
I
bring?
mean, I literally have no idea what the music scene is like in Luxembourg. I wouldn't even be able to guess. But if I had to kind of to guess at how they're going to approach Eurovision, I think either they might stay true to themselves and send something very kind of Luxembourgish, maybe something traditional, whatever that may look like, and to show off their culture, or they might decide to go down a very kind of poppy commercial route that they know is going to appeal to televoters and juries. Probably either one of those I could see happening, I hope.
For me, I would love that if they could bring something very elegant. I think elegance is sort of a lost trade in this day and age, but it always works really well in Eurovision, or at least it brings a lot of attention, like La Zara, even if eventually she didn't place as high as we expected. Something with that elegance will definitely do good, I think. Yoritori, the staging of artists at time, and some countries have advert breaks. You didn't have that with a fixed orchestra. We've moved on from that, though, rightly or wrongly. This is a good point. I think also staging and building a stage might add to those to the length of Eurovision.
But at the same time, you can't kind of tell countries like you can't have a prop. You just have to stand there. You're going to get countries that are going to want to go big.
Or go home. We'll just send them home. Go, Harry, sorry.
To be fair, some countries just don't need to be told to just send nothing. They already do that by themselves. So we don't need a specific rule for that, guys.
Thank you. You just saved us like 3 minutes of staging building. The EBU thanks you for your service, sir.
What's that, Romania? You just want a girl running on and painting face paint on Theodora's chest? Yeah, go for it. That's fine. A stolen guitar? Yeah, go. Feel free. Fill your boots.
I admire Theodore as a musician and as a creative, but I don't think...
Oh, I feel sorry for him because there's so many factors around his participation this year and Romania in general, where I don't think much of it is actually his fault.
Yeah, I read a headline where it said like Eurovision was his dream, but it turned into a nightmare. So I'm very sorry for him that was his experience.
Yeah.
Let's see, Liefern. Last time I went to Sweden was for Melody Festival in 2004, so I'm doing another visit, so why not for Eurovision 2024?
I need to get to meet us too.
Yes.
What more could you want?
Bayard, do you guys think Turan and Tural was a good choice or Azerbaijan should have been safe again and bring another Swedish collaboration? I was upset they didn't make it. Personally, I think they were a good choice. Like, I really enjoyed their personality and I really like the song. It's one of them that I don't skip on my Eurovision playlist. I never have, and after Eurovision I also don't do it. It's just unfortunate that one of the twins had his strap fallen off, and that made him like perform in a very awkward position, and he wasn't comfortable and relaxed, and that did come through the camera. And I loved seeing something authentic, something with like heart and like a human warmth. And to be fair, to have another Swedish collaboration, we already have Sweden and we already have the Nordic countries and other countries that do collaborate with Sweden. So I would want them to send something purely Azeri.
I think the problem when asking if it was a good or bad choice is there's a difference between the subjective answer and the objective answer. The subjective answer is it was nice to see something that was written by pure only Azerbaijan people. It's definitely the most authentic thing Azerbaijan have sent in years. On the other hand, if you look at it from an objective standpoint, it is statistically the worst Azerbaijan results in the history of the contest. So from that standpoint, it clearly wasn't a good idea to send them. I think just going back to just immediately Swedish stuff might work. It's but at the same time, we don't know with this now televote only system. Like, for example, Azerbaijan would have got 0 points last year if it was a televote only system. And I'm pretty sure in other years where they sent this like typical Swedish blandish sound, they would have struggled to qualify. I don't know the exact numbers. They might have slipped out in other televote, for examples. So I think there's always a healthy blend. I'll always say that the healthy blend between Azerbaijani sound and like the Swedish songwriting is maybe 2019. If you're looking for a recent example, I think that had both of those in a good amount. So you don't necessarily need to abandon this approach of authentic Azerbaijani songwriting, but you do need to cater it slightly towards Eurovision and make it accessible for a wide enough audience.
I think the staging could have been worked a little better. Because it's a song that if I have to compare this song to some other song that was also in the contest, the most similar song for me would have been Denmark in terms of tune and feeling. And imagine Azerbaijan with like a staging more like Denmark. It would have pulled a little more votes. I would have said.
Interesting comparison.
So you have a different opinion, Jess? You can go ahead.
I wouldn't personally liken Azerbaijan to Denmark, but I do appreciate them sending something different to what they normally do and sending something with a more kind of Azerbaijani sound to it, I guess, and a less kind of commercial pop Swedish sound. It would be nice to see them send something with more Azerbaijani songwriters or producers in the future. And maybe less of that kind of generic pop influence from abroad. But I fear that this year's result will put Azerbaijan off from doing that.
I hope it doesn't, because I really like that authenticity from them. Let's see. Riyadh. I wish Turkey would come back. I know. Oh, sorry, this is a full comment. They always have good combination of ethnic and modern. That is very true, and that is something I really, really miss from countries. I love when they mix, like, you know, like Kele Kele. That's a banger, and it lives in my heart forever. And I love this kind of songs that mix ethnic and modern, and they do it really well.
And also Turkey, quite often in kind of the mid-2000s, they did very well with the televote. Now there's televote only semis. Maybe that could, you know, be a good opening for them to come back.
Well, that's the argument a lot of people said when they brought back more televote power. Was it to cater to Turkey coming back to the contest? I'm not sure it's the best approach to cater to one country returning and sacrifice others. It's a tough one with Turkey. I mean, with the most recent presidential result and their beliefs around the contest, I'm not sure it's going to be anytime soon. Sadly, maybe. You know, the nuclear option, and I call it the nuclear option just from my personal opinions of a televote only final would bring them back. But yeah, I don't want Turkey back that much, sadly, you know, where that has to be the consequence.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I want Turkey back, but not that badly, like to shift the whole contest to cater to one country. And I'm very aware I said Kele Kele, and that's from Armenia, but what I meant was that I love when countries do mix ethnic and pop, no matter the country. So yeah, still Certa Vera in every way that I can is one of my favorite Eurovision songs ever. So yes. Lee Fern says, I'm hoping Luxembourg sends a song in Luxembourgish. Too many countries send songs in English these days. Lol, although the top 5 in 2021 were all non-English songs, so maybe that will pave the way for non-English songs. Yeah, in the future. I love how you have spread.
He's creating suspense, just like the voting does.
I will say I'm not sure that fact was quite correct because Iceland came fourth with Daddy Freya 10 years, but I do appreciate what he means. Sorry to be the fact annoying guy, but
Bukur says Lazara's middle finger was very elegant. I think she had like a sense of humor that didn't translate through the camera, to be honest.
Look, her favorite song must have just been Greece's win in 2005, and she was clearly honoring that in her own unique way.
Of course.
It can't have been any other reason. There's no possible other way that could have been perceived.
Or maybe she was showing homage to the Eiffel Tower. And her finger was the Eiffel Tower.
A very
You
thin
know how
Eiffel
much
Tower.
France loves the Eiffel Tower,
Mm.
especially in Eurovision.
Anyway,
One thing
go
go
ahead,
on.
please.
Well, one thing I
No.
missed from the British commentary was because Mel Gedroich did the commentary for the votes. We didn't have Graham Norton's joke about the Eiffel Tower being in the back of France's jury
no.
points announcement. Yeah, they needed to tell Mel about that. Come on.
Yeah.
I love that I learned how to do the middle finger in the Arabic world, because I for me it was just like she did like this and I didn't think much, but then like someone came and was like, no, that's how Middle East they do in the Arab world they do the middle finger. So I learned a new cultural thing. So thank you, Lazara, for that. And Liefern, I'd love the orchestra back, but that isn't going to happen. No, I don't think it's going to happen at all, because now we have all of these modern sounds that are produced by a computer that are impossible to replicate with instruments.
And I just
Italy would do well every year, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But I just keep thinking of songs like like Qatari in 2019. Like I don't think I could ever imagine that with an orchestra. I know.
Right, Bailey, you're a man of many talents. I'm currently writing my Eurovision song. Hope BBC gives me a call.
If you need backing vocals, I'm available. Just saying.
Yeah,
I can't dance though. Don't make me dance, because we will get like negative points.
Don't worry. We've been put off dance songs after 2 of the last 3 years. I think we're fine on that front.
If not, we can just put a green screen in front of you and make the producers fix that.
Oh.
Beckett Fitz, for those going to the contest, will it be cheaper in Sweden versus Liverpool? I don't even want to think about this.
I mean, I think in terms of like, for example, using public transport or buying food in a supermarket, I think that's definitely more expensive in Sweden than in the UK. But from what I read somewhere online, apparently, I think, I don't know whether it's the government or who it is, they're going to try and make sure that the accommodation prices are set at a fair price for all the fans going. But I don't know what Sweden's version of fair is, because if Sweden's already really expensive, their fare could still be more expensive for people like us.
A kidney.
But yeah, sadly, I think Sweden, for the most part, kind of food, drink, transport, etc., it's going to be pricey.
Well, I mean, it's guaranteed to be more expensive for me and Jess, because we actually have to get a flight for this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello.
I specified me and Jess for a reason, Clara. It's not going to be as different for you.
Ay. Okay. Karel says, for me, the Swedish victory represents like 2 steps back in the musical evolution of the contest, like coming back to the middle 2010s. I can see a point, because what I heard is like, well, we were in Liverpool. I think the most common phrase is like, LOREEN is not bringing anything we haven't seen before, while Karia is bringing something more fresh to the contest. To be fair, LOREEN's performance was very correct. It was visually very engaging. That's my opinion. Harry, what is your opinion on this?
I hate this narrative where you have to bring something new for it to be good. Like, there's a reason that sometimes formulas are used within music industry, because if you use a good formula, then it's still good. Like, I remember, for an example with like Eurovision, I remember everyone compared Cyprus's El Diablo to Lady Gaga. Everyone used a negative for that song as, oh, it sounds exactly like Bad Romance. I'm like, oh no, it sounds like one of the most iconic, well-praised songs of all time. How bad of them to do that. It's like, I look, I love Cha Cha Cha. I think it's amazing, and I appreciate its uniqueness, but I will always stand by this fact: unique and good are not the same words. Like, they have different definitions, in the same way that repetitive and bad also not the same words, different definitions. And you can have a unique bad song and a repetitive good one. So yeah, I don't subscribe to this theory at all, to be honest.
You do make really good points, Harry. You can stay. Okay, let's see. Cosmic Summers, Liffern. The UK is the last country to win with an orchestra in 1997, so maybe it would be a good thing for us. Ooh. And Liffern answers, I like your thinking. I think the Brits to my left like this thinking.
Well, if this is what we have to do, then I suppose we must sacrifice.
Karel answers, I think people like things that are out of the box or experimental only when they are funny. When it's serious, we can see what happened to AIA or Telemovies, my winners of those years. That's also a very good point. Guys, you're making tonight really good points. You can all stay. I like you. Liffern, Dana won in 1998 with an orchestra. And Harry, you have a comment here. Thank you, guys. And yes, Harry, in 2019 was a good choice for Azerbaijan. Tingins did a good performing with robots on stage.
A controversial opinion. I really like that staging. I thought it was actually quite good.
I liked it.
Yeah. I've got for whatever reason, people like, for example, people don't like when he's like transported up into the air with the hologram. I'm like, that looks cool. It's a moment. Like, it was one of the most modern stages we had that year.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Karel also says, people always talk trash about the 2000s, but I always feel it has a xenophobic background. Also, looks like they've never seen a 1980s or early 1990s. The contests were almost unwatchable.
I think it partly depends how. I think the perception of Eurovision always partly depends on how old you are and when you started getting into the contest. Like, if your first experiences of it are from the 2010s, like the glory years when Eurovision was actually a serious contest, then you're probably not gonna like the 2000s because there was a lot of rubbish in there, let's be honest. And the earlier 90s, 80s, 70s, it's just the style of music. Like, if you're a younger Eurovision fan, you're just not gonna like as many songs from that year. All variants have their merits and downsides, but I think when because at the end of the day, whatever year you became a Eurovision fan, you must have gravitated towards something about the contest then. So you're not gonna like either side either way, if that makes sense.
Jess, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. I mean, I sort of really properly started getting into Eurovision in 2005, kind of the height of the televote kind of era. And for me, I have tried watching contests from like the 70s or the 80s. I don't enjoy them as much. I find it more difficult to get into them because they're just not quite the same as from like the 2000 onwards for me. And it doesn't have the same feeling for me. But, you know, it's still interesting to see how Eurovision was back then and how it's evolved. But I'm not as into those earlier contests as I am the later contests.
No, I agree. I think if you get into the 2000s, the first contest I watched was 2002. I could watch it because, first of all, it was the first thing I've ever watched from Eurovision, so I didn't know better. And now I can get back into them because I have so many memories associated to them. But I can agree it's all very quiche and how can I say? I'm trying to find the English word.
There's a lot of cheesy or troll
cheesy,
entries.
yes. There's a lot of cheesiness. There's a lot of white trousers and white high heel boots, which I find very tacky. But there's like a warmth to it because it reminds me to an era where I was growing up and discovering the world and thinking, oh my God, this must be very cool for the adults. So I don't know. But if I try to watch any contest earlier than 2002, I just don't enjoy at all. So yeah, I think you made a really good point. It depends on when you started watching and in what arena of your life you were at that point. Okay, this is a good question. Jody Toddy, cast your crystal ball. Who has the strongest chance of the next Big Five winner?
Germany!
Germany!
Oh, damn it, you nicked my joke.
No, but jokes aside, realistically speaking, based on that track record, probably Italy.
Yeah.
But then again, because both the UK and Spain have proven that they can send something that could potentially be winning worthy. It only happened once last year, but it proved that we have what it takes to almost win. So if we could do that again, and then maybe like almost win again, but then like not almost win, but actually win, then maybe UK and Spain, if that makes any sense to anyone.
Well,
I thought you were
France
going
as
to
well.
say Spain.
Yes,
Well,
and France.
France as well. I think the problem, I mean, the answer is Italy, because at the end of the day, Germany, we know their trajectory and we know their recent form. Just looking at a graph of their positions between 2015 to 2000 to now, if you take away 2018, it's rough viewing. Like really, I genuinely, and this is a bad stat. If you take away 2018, they've been bottom two every single year between 2015 to now.
Whoa.
That is like awful record. Like shockingly bad. And I think that when it comes to Spain, France, and the UK, I think the general consensus is, despite the UK's result and just Spain and France in the last couple of years, the general consensus is, I think, overall they're on an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
However, despite that, there's still question marks around it. It's not proven consistency. Italy have only been outside the top 10 twice since they returned in 2011. Like, that's a ridiculous record. So yeah, most likely to win now the Big Five again is Italy.
Yes, but now with Benidorm Fest in Spain, I'm keeping, and I'm not a very nationalist myself. Like, I'm only Spanish by passport because it can keep me jumping into planes. I think maybe Spain, if they come with the right song in Benidorm Fest, they might have a good chance, because it's a sort of like, I don't want to praise Benidorm in the same category as Sanremo, like, God forbid. But like, it's also a selection process that the artist has to go through. So that's a filter. So maybe they hit gold once in the next 10 years. But let's
see if the previous head of delegation can improve on her track record as well.
Well, I mean, she also did national finals. Look at 2017.
But those no. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about those national finals, Harry. Please, come on. I thought this was commonly accepted, and there was like a European contract sent to every watcher to never talk about this.
I mean, guys, what national finals? No national finals existed then.
Might as well have not have, based on the result.
Anyway, guys, we've been talking almost like an hour, so we need to wrap up. Maybe I take one last question, or like one last comment from Lee Fern, because I think this is really cool. My first experience of Eurovision was 1988 when Celine Dion won. I was just 6 years old, and I've been a big fan ever since, or a fan ever since.
What a great artist to get you into Eurovision.
Lucky you. Like, I'm sort of jealous. Mine was Marianne.
Oh, I don't know who mine was.
Is it like the winner of the first time you won?
Yes.
Oh, then Helena Paparizou. Not bad.
Also, that's a great.
And I'm still a huge fan of her to this day, so I guess it worked.
The first year I watched it was what's their name? The Azerbaijan duo.
Oh no, that's a bad one. Sorry.
No, but the year I became a fan was Netta, so like slightly better.
Yeah, I hope they never send a duo with zero chemistry where the guy is clearly not into girls.
I mean, that's somehow their best result, so maybe it works, I guess. That's the one they've won with.
Yeah.
Okay, so
clearly Europe was drunk that night.
It was in Germany. They had a lot of beers before the
show. Anyway, guys, I think we should wrap it up because we've been like an hour talking about Eurovision. We love talking about Eurovision off-season, as you can see, because we just talk for an hour and it just goes by really quickly. Thank you, Jess, and thank you, Harry, for being here with us in the live chat and me. But now I've started talking about me in third person, like I'm some grandiosity. And guys in the live chat, thank you for joining us, and stay tuned because we're planning to come live way more often than we have had in these past 3 weeks, because we now have like some sort of schedule to be with you more often and chat with you more often. So thank you guys for joining tonight. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Harry. And stay tuned for the next live video that we should come in like a few days. Bye, guys. See you next time.